How can you do this to me?
Take these pictures in August?
Screw you, I'm not talking!
What specific reason do you have taking pictures of the World Trade Center?
No. Forgotten how good John was in this. This film is also based on a lot of research. This was actually a documentary idea I'd been researching for a very, very long time. Adi actually gave me a one-line story idea of something set in New York, and at that time I said, why don't we set it against the backdrop of 9/11? You know, and the story of three friends and how their lives get disrupted by this. I was in the US during 9/11, so I had seen what was happening there. I was there for a month post 9/11. It's natural for the population of a place or the people to get paranoid after a terrorist attack of this magnitude. But there we witnessed that the government became paranoid and took certain decisions, and the information about these illegal detentions that happened, there were about 1,200 illegal detentions that happened in New York, came out much later. It didn't come out when it happened. So I was researching that, and then I said, why not place one of the characters as that? So a lot of what happens with John is actually based on exactly what happened to certain characters, or what we show is happening to Nawaz was really things that they did, things like waterboarding, and which technically the Americans said is not really torture.
So I said to our team, are the techniques legal? And a legal team says, yes, they are. And I said, use.
Even while shooting, we put that cloth, and obviously because we can't really do waterboarding, we put layers of polythene in between that gunny sack so that the water bounces off. Despite that, John could not sustain it for more than 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's just because the angle, the way they place it, the way they pour the water, it's designed to enter your lungs straight away. And that's what they used to do, and they did for, so many of these men. So yeah, he really, he sort of went through all the material, read the transcript. I briefed him totally. And I think now I'm watching it after so many years. 2009 is New York release, and I'm watching it, and see that, and this is what you feel happy that something stand the test of time. And even now, it's a remarkable performance that he's given. And Nawaz, seeing Nawaz. In a certain sense, that was his first mainstream film. And I remember after the film, a lot of people came after the film, said, where did you find that real case study? I said, it's not a case study, it's an actor, it's Nawazuddin. A lot of times people come and tell me, sir, wo auditions mein, wo theek se aata nahi hai, to I don't think I was able to do my best, can you give me another shot? And I often tell actors, listen, audition mein hame bhi malum hai ki माहौल नहीं है, you're not bouncing off anybody, लाइटिंग नहीं है, कैमरा भी ऐसे लगा, मुझे भी मालूम है कि आपको ये 100% नहीं है. हम सिर्फ जब ऑडिशन देखते हैं ना, देखते हैं रॉ मटेरियल इस एक्टर में है या नहीं, कैन वी वर्क विद दिस एक्टर, कैन तो उतना देखते. तो ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस मत होइए, क्योंकि एंड आई टेल देम ऑफ कि मेरी पूरी जितने भी साल मेरे 15, 16, 17 साल हो गए हैं सिनेमा बनाते हुए, सिर्फ एक ऑडिशन ऐसा आया था जिसको देख के मैं दंग हो गया था, लेकिन वो ऑडिशन था नवाजुद्दीन का. अब वो था ये सीन के लिए. हम उस जमाने में काफ़ी अपने खुद ऑडिशंस करवाते थे और कास्टिंग करते थे. तो हम आई वाज लुकिंग फॉर दिस एक कैरेक्टर जो इसका नाम जिलगई था कि वो आएगा और वो ये एक सीन है जो अपना एक सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस 9/11 के बाद जो उसके साथ बताएगा. तो वन डे वन ऑफ माय असिस्टेंट्स केम, अली अब्बास सफर, एंड ही केम टू मी एंड सेड, कबीर माइंड ब्लोइंग ऑडिशन मिला है. मैंने कहा अच्छा कहाँ, एंड आई वेंट एंड सेड we have to get this guy, and we got him on board. And वो सीन जब हम शूट कर रहे थे उसके अंदर भी एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है, जहाँ पे कटरीना's character is recording him, and Neil's character comes and he sits down and he's hearing him, and वो पूरा सिंगल टेक है, ऑलमोस्ट 3 मिनट का मोनोलॉग है नवाज का. एंड हमारी आधी जो क्रू थी वो अमेरिकन थी, आधी क्रू जो थी वो इंडियन थी, और वो जैसे ही मैंने कट बोला, एक सिंगल टेक है वो, दे ऑल स्टार्टेड लाफिंग क्लैपिंग एंड क्राइंग, सब बातें करने लगे उसके बारे. एंड उसके कुछ 1-2 घंटे बाद इरफान केम, उनका शॉट था, एंड ही केम टू मी एंड सेड, यार ये क्या शॉट दिया है नवाज ने जो सब मतलब बोले जा रहे हैं, तारीफ कर रहे हैं, और मैं क्या दिखाता हूँ मैं. एंड आई टुक हिम टू द साइड एंड आई पुट इट ऑन द मॉनिटर एंड आई जस्ट प्लेड इट. कोई बैकग्राउंड म्यूजिक नहीं, जस्ट प्लेड इट.
कुत्ते का होता है ना, वो बांध के खींचते थे ऐसे.
And as he was watching it, his tears started trickling down Irfan's cheeks. That was the power of Nawaz's performance in that. ये न्यूयॉर्क का जो हमारा था शेड्यूल, उस जमाने में I think it was the longest single schedule for any film. हम 100 दिन थे न्यूयॉर्क और फिलाडेल्फिया में ये शूट करने के. Literally we went. मेरी दूसरी फिल्म थी, किसी को पता ही नहीं था हम ये बना रहे हैं. और मुझे याद है हम लोग गए और हमने ये फिल्म शूट किया. एंड अभी भी इस फिल्म के साथ जो भी, मतलब आप कटरीना से अभी भी अगर पूछेंगे, एंड आई कैन टेल यू एवर इन इंटरव्यू आस्क कटरीना व्हिच हैज बीन द बेस्ट एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ अ फिल्म शूटिंग इट, she'll say New York, because for all of us, एक तो क्या थी, बहुत अंडरडॉग फिल्म थी. मेरी दूसरी फिल्म थी, मेरे को कुछ लेना देना नहीं मेन स्ट्रीम सिनेमा से, कलेक्शन नंबर्स, कहानी अच्छी लगी, दिल से बनाना है, कोई प्रेशर नहीं कि बजट है नहीं है न्यूयॉर्क में. Katrina was playing for the first time a character where she was not doing a song and dance, the usual sort of over glamorous portrayals that she had. She was playing a real girl from New York. She did, I think, a fabulous job. Neil की ये दूसरी फिल्म थी. Neil had the orthoback role. Actually, if you look at New York, it's his film. It's the film. The story is through his eyes. John had worked with once, but he was doing a fabulous thing. I had other fabulous actors like Irrfan Khan, Nawazuddin. और हम लोग गए और 100 दिन हमने मजे से फिल्म शूट करी. बहुत मजा आया, बहुत मजे भी किए. एंड वापस आए एंड रब ने बना दी जोड़ी आने वाली थी. मैंने आदि को बोला, आदि हम न्यूयॉर्क का ट्रेलर लगा देते हैं ना इसमें. सर इतनी जल्दी कैसे तुम ट्रेलर काट दो, अभी तो आए हो तुम. मैंने कहा हम कर देंगे. हम बैठे और एडिटर के साथ और हमने एक ट्रेलर काटा. और तब तक आदि ने कुछ नहीं देखा था फिल्म का. एंड आई सेड आप आगे देखिए. एंड आदि केम एंड सॉ द ट्रेलर. आई सेड यार ये तो बहुत अच्छी लग रही है, ठीक है इसको डालते हैं. एंड आई रिमेंबर वी पुट द ट्रेलर इन रब ने बना दी जोड़ी. एंड इसकी एक टेस्ट नहीं, मतलब ट्रायल्स हो रहे थे रब ने बना दी जोड़ी की. एंड लॉट ऑफ पीपल फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री केम एंड दे, आई रिमेंबर द रिएक्शंस. दे सेड when did you guys shoot this film? मतलब हमें कुछ पता नहीं था, हमने कोई अनाउंसमेंट नहीं करी थी. So that was, and then New York went on to become commercially a very big successful film. And it was very surprising for us because बहुत ही political film है. It's a hard political film. It has no lip sync songs, beautiful songs. My first collaboration with Preetham, but it was not the kind of mainstream cinema that one is used to. At that point in time, जब मैं तो नया डॉक्यूमेंट से आया था, तो लोग कहते थे कि यार पॉलिटिक्स इन मेन स्ट्रीम सिनेमा इज टैबू, लोग बोर हो जाते हैं. बट द वे पीपल एक्सेप्टेड न्यूयॉर्क एंड इट बिकेम सो सक्सेसफुल. एंड आफ्टर दैट आई हैड सो मेनी ऑफर्स ऑफ पीपल से यार न्यूयॉर्क टाइप एक फिल्म बनाओ. तो आई रियलाइज कि कोई टाइप की फिल्म नहीं होती है, वो एक चीज होती है, जब वो बननी होती है तो वो बन जाती है. वन, ऑफ कोर्स, आई बी वेरी लकी टू गेट दैट लोकेशन. इट वाज एन अबैंडन्ड jail in Philadelphia. It was actually half abandoned. Half the jail was still active. तो कभी-कभी हम शूट करते थे ना, हमें रोकते थे, guards आते थे, and then real inmates would cross across and go that. I think the toughest moment was to how do you take at that point in time the sex symbol of India and you completely deconstruct him and make people believe or make people feel bad for the way he's being degraded, because ultimately what were they doing? They were hitting at your dignity, right? And that's what we had to show. And I said, how do I do it without like going into gory details? I still needed to be gritty and like a little like you feel like what the hell are they doing without going over the top. And therefore there's a certain gentleness in the background score, there's a certain isolation of him, and yet make people believe ki is aadmi ko, this 6 feet 2 inch muscle bound guy has been completely broken down. And his performance, I think, that scene where he's eating and he breaks down, and I think that really was, for me, that was the challenge, whether we'll be able to achieve that. And I think thanks to the way they've performed, the way John has performed, that this sequence has come out so well. But as I said, again, in this scene also, it shows, and this is again for all film students and or people who want to be, how important it is to get the correct locations and the feel, because ultimately now these little things like finding this place, shooting when it's cold, he's shivering, that little breath is coming out with that, all that just adds so much to the mood. These are things that sometimes you don't write on script, but these are the things you have to look out for. So therefore that is something which we were talking about, things like observation. Of course you write everything that you can, but should always, as a director, keep your eyes and ears open for little things that you'll catch on that day. And sometimes just that makes a difference to the scene. From being a good scene to being that little extra special scene. Something the actor is doing, something the light is doing, something the location is providing you. If you don't exploit that, then you're losing an opportunity. And that's the difference between, coming back really excited from a shoot saying, yeah, aaj kuch special mila hai, more than just capturing what you had on paper. You've got that something extra element that comes in, and that gives you that thrill that, hey, today we got something that I didn't expect. I love traveling. Firstly, for me, travel has been a passion. I've traveled to like more than 80 countries around the world because of the work that I do. Even before cinema, I used to do a lot of documentary work. So for me, I cannot ever let my assistants go and say, location dekh ke aao. Wo to mujhe dekhna. I have to stand there, I have to see the light, I have to feel the place. And say, because as I said, for me sometimes my locations are characters in the film. Up New York film, dekhiye, New York as a story can work only in New York. That story doesn't stand in any other city, because it's standing for something that happened in New York. Kabul Express can happen only in Kabul. It cannot happen anywhere else. So they are like literally characters in my film, and that's why I spend a lot of time. I enjoy it also. Tomorrow there's a recce that we're leaving for Kashmir. I've been to Kashmir umpteen times, and it's a bit of a technical recce, so we just deciding. But I have to go there because I know the moment I go and see the location, things will begin to change in my mind, and I'll get more ideas, we'll get more excited.